You believe you decided to buy that coffee. You believe you chose that specific Netflix subscription. And you definitely believe you're immune to advertising. But you're wrong. In 2002, a psychologist named Daniel Kahneman won the Nobel Prize for proving that your brain has two distinct operating systems. And for the last 20 years, trillion-dollar companies have been building a world designed to bypass the smart one. This describes the mechanics of shadow marketing, illustrating how brands hack your biology to make you buy things you didn't want at prices you shouldn't pay. To understand the manipulation, you have to understand the hardware. Kahneman described two systems. System 2 is your conscious self, which is slow, logical, and skeptical. It is what you use to solve a math problem or parallel park. But System 2 is lazy and burns massive amounts of energy, so your brain prefers System 1. This system is fast, automatic, and emotional because it operates on instinct and shortcuts. Marketing doesn't argue with System 2 because it would lose. So instead, it creates environments where System 2 never wakes up. When you see a red clearance tag, your System 1 feels urgency before your System 2 can calculate the actual savings. They aren't selling to you, but rather to your autopilot. Brands also rig the choice itself. In a famous experiment, moviegoers were offered a small popcorn for $3 and a large for $7. Most bought the small. But when a medium option was added for $6.50, sales of the large skyrocketed. The medium wasn't there to be sold. It was a decoy, an asymmetrical option designed solely to make the large look like a steal. You didn't choose the large because you were hungry, but because System 1 loves a bargain. This happens everywhere, from software tiers to magazine subscriptions. They present 3 options, but only one is the target. The middle option is just the ugly brother they brought along to make the target look handsome. Pricing hacks your logic, but physical environments hack your nervous system. Casinos are the masters of this, removing clocks and windows to kill your sense of time. But the most subtle manipulation is smell. Starbucks doesn't just sell coffee, they engineer the aroma. In the past, they actually stopped selling breakfast sandwiches because the smell of burning cheese overpowered the coffee scent, which they viewed as part of their brand logo. Scent travels directly to the brain's emotional center, the amygdala, completely skipping the rational thalamus. When you walk into a bakery or a hotel lobby and feel good, you haven't made a judgment. You have been dosed, and your System 1 is reacting to a chemical signal before your System 2 even knows you're in the room. Online, these tactics mutate into what experts call dark patterns. A 2024 OECD study found that 76% of websites employ these manipulative designs. You see it when a travel site screams about only having one room left in bright red text. That is artificial scarcity designed to panic your System 1 into booking before you compare prices. It creates a tunnel vision where the fear of missing out overrides the fear of overpaying. This reached a breaking point in 2025 with the FTC's click to cancel rule, which tried to force companies to make unsubscribing as easy as signing up. The fact that the government had to legally mandate a cancel button proves how aggressive these architectures have become. They aren't designing for user experience, but for user entrapment. The final hack is the most addictive. Tech companies realized that predictable rewards are boring to the human brain, so we stop checking. However, variable rewards, where you don't know what you're going to get, will spike dopamine like nothing else. This is why you scroll. Every pull of the screen is a slot machine lever. Maybe you get a like, maybe you get news, or maybe you get nothing. That uncertainty keeps System 1 engaged in a loop of anticipation. It is the same psychological mechanic used in gambling, applied to your daily communication. They have turned your social instinct into an extraction engine for your attention. and System 2 is too slow to stop the scroll once the dopamine hits. The only defense against these shadow practices is awareness. You cannot turn off System 1, since it kept your ancestors alive for thousands of years. But you can learn to recognize when it's being targeted. When you feel urgency, pause. When you see 3 options, look for the decoy. Force System 2 to show up to the fight. If this breakdown helped you spot the strings being pulled, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next investigation into the hidden mechanics of today's economy.